Good evening, racing fans, punters, and people who've accidentally clicked on the wrong link on YouTube. My name is Ross Brierley. This is In the Know, brought to you by the Racing Post and Coral. And again, it's a big Friday night ahead of a big Saturday. Your Jumps fans will be getting warmed up with a bit of Chepstow. Your Flat fans will be looking at York. And if you like a bit of both, of course, you've got the Cesarewitch, the greatest handicap hurdle of the season without any hurdles. So that's just one of the races we'll be looking at tomorrow. It is, of course, Future Champions Weekend at Newmarket. Admittedly, some of the best two-year-olds we may well have seen on Friday afternoon's card, but we might well see a live Guineas contender in the Dewhurst, and often your Darley stakes and your Autumn stakes as well. I tend to throw up quite nice horses. Autumn stakes in particular is a bit of a penalty kick for Godolphin. Historically, they often run a good one in that, and they may well do so tomorrow as well. And it's also the final day of the season at the UK's finest racecourse. That's right, we've got a whole card at York for you on the Knavesmire in soft ground. And we've got a big field sprint handicap, of which I'm sure at least one of our pundits is rubbing his hands together with glee and anticipation, and the other one is probably rubbing his eyes in frustration. But we'll see which one is which as the show goes on. Hello, if you're watching, of course, right now between 6 and 7 p.m. This is live and interactive, so if you are watching, do get in touch. This is, of course, just as much a social club as it is a weekend preview. Hello to Martin Ford, Duncan Evans, JJ13, Daniel Valentine, Nick Palfrey, and, of course, a bit of autumn cheese. Good evening to you. I imagine you probably have to switch up the cheese, Paul Kealy. You got your summer cheese, you got your winter cheese. What's an autumn cheese? You a cheese man?
My son once said to me years ago, he said, I don't understand why they make anything other than cheddar as it comes to cheese.
Because it's just...
yeah, and now he eats pretty much every cheese going, and I'm still pretty much a rigid cheddar man. Like a bit of Edam, but I'm not exactly the most daring person when it comes to cheese. I have been rubbing my eyes with frustration, though, today, after I nearly had it right off in the first race at York. Piled into Thunder Raw at 14-1 the day before, went off 13-2, got beat by like that.
It was. I'm sure you made a noise, but it wasn't a roar, was it?
No. It was long before the 9 o'clock watershed as well, so I can tell you.
So you can't tell exactly what was uttered as they crossed the line. Apart from that, I mean, look, you got your big fields and your and what look like competitive races, but again, it is that time of year. You know, 2 or 3 horses are clearly going quite well still at the back end of the season or are handling conditions. And some of the races today, I mean, half the field were beaten halfway round.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and York particularly, it was sticky there, wasn't it? And you know, I mean, in the opening race, the commentator saying they're going slowly, and they hadn't turned in, and half of them were beat. Like, you know what I mean? It's something like that. Yeah. Like, you know, it does go like that, doesn't it? No doubt about it.
It does indeed. Good evening to Mr. Tom Segal, who I knew it, Tom. I knew it ever since we've been broadcasting together. I thought, you know, we've got a horse racing fan, a vegetarian. He likes a bit of basketball, but secretly, he's a big, huge fan of Top Gear. And, you know, after today...
Oh, my God. Cars are the most ridiculous things. How people are interested in cars is beyond me. It's completely bonkers. I've never watched it, to be honest, so I can't give a comment on it, but...
Well, I mean, but you were a fan of the Top Gear who won by 5.5 lengths today, at the very least, anyway.
I'm a fan of Christopher Head. He's an incredible trainer, him, isn't he? But the thing is, they don't just win. They win by... miles. Big Rock and Blue Rose Sen and Ramatuel and this thing today. He is something. I don't know how he does it, but they are when they're right, they're just unbeatable, and that was the case today, wasn't it?
Yeah, I would suggest that there's been some bonkers decisions from the human race over the past 12 months, but I reckon the owner of Big Rock and all those horses moving it away from Christopher Head was actually probably up there.
Yeah, to someone with like a 5% strike rate as well, like, you know, and no history of training big winners.
No,
you know.
I would imagine they must have had a massive fall out, mustn't they, over something? So
yeah,
I believe it was a choice made just on training skills, can it?
Yeah.
Can it be?
Yeah, but I mean, he had a choice of other people to send it to, didn't he?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Brock's been retired. Is he running again? I'm not sure.
But I presume that the falling out must have been like, I only want my horses to win by a Christopher Head, as it were, but you keep winning by 10 lengths. But
I'm like Keels. It was one of those days today. I felt like I should have backed about 15 winners, and I didn't. I should have backed Sun God, and I should have backed the winner of the sales race, Dominic French Davis's horse, and I should have backed. And there's my dog standing up there. And I should have backed. A few. I should have backed Simon Crisford's.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I read your piece about the overcomplicating the arc. I mean, that Cornwallis Stakes, I looked at it and I thought she's the best horse in the race, and then I got into draw and pace and everything, and the end of it, I just kind of held my hands.
Was she the best horse? Was she the best horse? I'm not sure. The one on the other side beat her lot by about 20 lengths, didn't she?
Oh no, I thought pre-race. I thought, I think I don't know. I didn't know much about the second, so of the horse I knew about, I really liked her. But then you overcomplicate.
Yeah, I mean it's true. It's true. We all do it. We all do it non-stop. But sometimes there's great. I mean, I know Keel sometimes gets his stuff out the way early, so therefore he, like I was keen on a horse we'll talk about later in the Coral Sprint at York tomorrow, and then I watched the sprint. And it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or whatever it was, won it. And I went off it, and I'll probably go and win because I've overcomplicated it. But that's the way it is. Sometimes you've got to, if you use your brain, sometimes you're sent down blind alleys.
Absolutely. No danger of that with our fourth guest on the panel tonight, Mr. David Stevens. Good evening, my good man. Been a while since I've seen your smiling face.
Good evening, gents. Just going back to Keels' earlier introduction. Rigid Cheddar Man. There's the greatest superhero the world has yet to meet.
Absolutely. I mean, if we don't buy a 2-year-old and name it Rigid Cheddar Man, then we've gone wrong, haven't we? Anyway, how are you? You're in the you're you're 20 days early, but you're in the Halloween spirit. Lovely backdrop there, mate.
Yes, a couple of self portraits there, me and the better half. I'll let you guess which one is which. But look, we're almost there, aren't we? At least the Christmas decorations haven't gone up yet. But it's that time of year where the jumpers are coming back. Brilliant to see Copperhead win today, the Veterans Chase. It's always best to bet with your head, not your heart, mate. With your heart, not your head, even. Maybe that's what I'll do this jump season. And I thought we saw a really good winner of the Fillies Mile, Desert Flower. 4-1 second favourite for the 1,000 guineas. 8-1 favourite for the Oaks. Obviously a long winter to come. But Tom mentioned the Coral Sprint Trophy there. It is, of course, a big day for us on the Knavesmire. I'll be making my way there after this show tonight. Looking forward to that one. Over 40 years we've been sponsoring. Now, I'm not old enough to remember exactly when we started, but if anyone out there can let us know on the chat, do. But to celebrate 40 years of, or at least 40 years of Coral sponsorship on the Knavesmire, it is their end of season tomorrow. We've got a very special offer from 9 a.m. tomorrow morning until race time. All bets placed online on the Coral Sprint Trophy. If your horse finishes second, beaten by a head or less, will pay you out as a winner. So online bets from 9 a.m. tomorrow morning up to a maximum of a tenner. If you're beaten by a head or a less, you'll be on a winner.
Okay, I can see it now. Backing a horse who finishes third or fourth in that sprint, they finish in a blanket, gets beaten by a head or less, and you don't get repaid. I can feel it. That's what York Sprint Handicap all over it. But anyway, thank you for that offer, David. Anything else up your sleeve before we move on?
We've got a couple of price boosts in the first race at York that we sponsor, the Coral Rockingham. If Bolo Nays or Invictus Gold win that, it's 11-10 from 4-5. And the big handicap, of course, down at Newmarket is Cesarewitch. William Emmett Mullins have won 4 of the last 6 between them. Sea of Sands and Jakovec haven't go for them. If either of those win, it's 11-4 from 2-1.
Thank you very much, David. Yeah, Bolognese will have a chance. Rafe Beckett, of course. Unfortunately, I had a double. Bolognese and cheese is always good, so I had it with Cathedral this afternoon. Unfortunately, that went on to
good.
Very
second. Yeah. Anyway, right.
I got one of your jokes as well. So it had to be to do with food, didn't it?
Yeah. Before we get too hungry, let's have an advert, and then we'll get stuck into tomorrow's racing, shall we? Okay, yeah, get your phone out, scan that QR code, join the Racing Post Insider WhatsApp group. Paul Kealy's jump source of the season is yet to be released as well, so they've got that to look forward to this week. But before we start talking jump sources, we've got a whole winter to get stuck into that. So let's concentrate on the flat, shall we, with Newmarket and York tomorrow. Starting off, first race of the day for us is going to be the 1:15 at Newmarket, the Space Blues Darley Stakes. 9 furlongs the distance here for this Group 3 contest. Lead artist is 9-4, Liberty Lane 11-4, Ancient Rome 5-1, 11-2 Almabia, Spirit Dancer is 11s, 12s The Foxes, Peaceman 12s, Savvy Victory 20-1 here. Skeleton is a significant non-runner, albeit the owners, of course, do have a hot favourite here in the shape of Lead Artist, who represents one of only 2 stables who've won this race multiple times in the past 20 years. This one is Jane Chapel-Hyam, who doesn't have a runner, and the Gosdens have won it 3 times. The last couple of times they won it with Frankel 3-year-olds. Lead Artist isn't a Frankel 3-year-old, but the Dammer Lead Artist is a Frankel mare who's one only progeny so far is pretty damn good. So Lead Artist 9-4, and plenty of people, Keels, talking about this horse last time out as a potential future Group 1 performer. He goes up in trip and down in grade here. I mean, if he is a future Group 1 performer, he's going to have to be winning this, isn't he?
Yeah, but is he that good? I mean, I don't.
I just remember a lot of people last time at Donny saying, "Oh, I think he'll go on to be." A Group 1
yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's lightly raced, and you know, he could be, and he could, you know, and he certainly could do. But does he deserve to be the price he is on what he's done? I mean, that's the question, isn't it? I'm not convinced. I thought Kinross toyed with him at Donny. With Maxwell toyed with Kinross at Longchamp. I don't think Kinross is as good as he was last year. So I'm not 100% on the form. Racing Post Ratings has him joint second bottom. So, you know, I thought he was worth taking on. I don't know about Liberty Lane. I was kicking myself for not at least backing him for the Cambridgeshire, let alone tipping him. But like Tom wrote in the Weekender afterwards, it was like, you know, he won an 11-runner race, and most of them were outsiders because it was just all over that side, wasn't it? First 7 home. I'm not sure about that. I came down to the conclusion that I thought Ancient Rome was quite a big price. Yeah. Now, he's got to recover from a poorish run in America last time, but he was third in the Arlington Million before that, right up to his very, very best form. And he's definitely got the form to be a player in that. Charlie Hills hasn't had a winner for quite a while, but I think almost half the horses he's run in October finished second.
Yeah.
So I mean, at some point,
he had a horse the other day that I wanted to take it on. It was quite a short price, and they backed it and backed it and backed it at Kempton, I think it was. And I thought, why do they keep backing this? But then on that day, I think, he had 3 horses all get beat sort of half a length into second, and
he's had ones at prices as well.
Yeah,
like, you know, I mean, finished second. So it you know, the floodgates are going to open hopefully at some point. But I think, you know, he's got plenty of bits of form that say he's as good as any of these. I think, you know. So I just question whether, you know, Lead Artist is as good as everybody thinks he is. I don't think he's actually proved it yet anyway, to be backing him at that price.
I mean, he is beautifully bred. I mean, of course he's a judgment horse. But...
Of course he is, yeah. He's beautifully bred and all that, but...
Got a penalty too, isn't he, Keels? I mean...
Yeah, this is the point. There's a 3-year-old with a penalty as well, like, you know, so yeah, I think he's got his work cut out, to be honest, I really do. You know, so I would certainly rather back Liberty Lane and Ancient Rome, and I'm just... Having read Tom's weekend end of column piece, like, I'm not going to go overboard on Liberty Lane, so I'm going to say Ancient Rome. I think he's got a big chance, and he's had a wind up since that run in America.
And I think you can make an argument as well that his form in France on soft ground is probably his best form as well. And he hasn't really had those conditions that often.
Yeah, well, it's not. I mean, it's not exactly soft at Newmarket, is it? But I mean, he has got form on fast ground, hasn't he?
He's got form on everything, really, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, you know, that Arlington Million third was on firm ground.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And he's only beaten 2 1/4 lengths. Best RPR that he's ever run. So that's 2 starts to go, career best, and you know, he's 6-1 against horses that are, in my view, no better than him.
Okay. Now Ancient Rome is a 5-1, bit of a 5-1, bit of an each way shot to nothing potentially against Lead Artist. Liberty Lane's a funny one. I mean, I know what you mean about the Cambridgeshire, Tom, and I agree to a certain extent, but I mean, you know, EBT's guard was 80-1 on that far side. He won at Ascot next time out, but Pedro ran a really good race, didn't he? I mean, there was one down the field that Empire State of Mind was beaten out of sight in that race and came out and won today. And, I mean, he didn't just win. He murdered them, and he's a proper Newmarket horse. Colbert, Clifford Lee, I mean... It's a funny one, isn't it? Because I know what you mean about the draw bias, but part of me thinks he could have raced anywhere and beat him in that race.
No chance. If he'd have raced on the near side, he'd have been 11th, wouldn't he? Wouldn't he? No chance. My personal opinion, he's got nothing against Liberty Lane. Nothing. I think he's a very good horse. He was incredibly impressive in the Cambridge Race. 2 from 2 at the track. He could easily win this. He's very uncomplicated. He'll be out front and they'll have to come and get him. So I fully get why he's the price he is. All I was saying in the weekender piece was that he's had 6 or 7 goes off 105 and he's not won any of them, and then he suddenly goes to the Cambridgeshire and he wins it by 3.5 lengths, and everyone's suddenly, he's the greatest group horse you've ever seen. Well, it just doesn't make sense to me. I just thought it was a set of circumstances where he got the perfect trip on the best ground and he won. Now he might get that tomorrow. I have no problems with Liberty Lane winning this at all, because it's not the greatest Group 3 you'll ever win. As Keels point out, Lead Artist has got a penalty. He's a danger. I quite like it. Keels has won Ancient Rome again. I thought the Ascot form was very good. He's had a wind up. It's not a strong race. I'd be interested to see how Peaceman goes, because he was a really, real massive improver last year for the Gosdens and has obviously been off for ages since. It's sort of why, they've had him gelded, so sort of, I don't know why they're running him here. And they maybe got something in Dubai lined up for him, I don't know. But he was an interesting horse last year. I think Liberty Lane's got a very good chance. Nothing wrong with his chance at all. He'll love the track. The ground's no issue. He'll get the run of the race. So, yeah, he's got a chance. I just slightly bet the prices prefer Ancient Rome like Keels.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. Nobody going with Lead Artist at 9-4. Could we see this favourite drifting tomorrow, David? Or again, I mean, he was smashed off the boards last time. Every time this horse runs, he seems to get very well backed.
Yeah, he's been a little bit of support, 9-4 from 5-2. He's so beautifully bred, and if the step up in trip brings out some improvement, of the 2 at the head of the betting, I do prefer him. Liberty Lane's Cambridgeshire win, he was just drawn on the right side. I'm like Tom, I'm really interested in this Peaceman. The fact that after a huge absence last summer, he last ran, they're starting him off here. He's been gelded. I'm interested as to why they're starting him off here. He's around the 12-1 mark, still 3 places each way at the moment. I'd probably take a chance on him, but it's a tricky little race to kick off with.
Yeah, it is indeed. Okay then, Ancient Rome, I think, for our panel. Let's have a look. Diddly-lee, can't be touching Gosden, says Rod. Liberty Lane should be favoured if this race isn't coming too soon. So thank you for that. As we move on, let's go over to York then. A Coral-sponsored day on the Knaves Mire, and the Rockingham Stakes kicks us off. Then the listed race over 6 furlongs for the juveniles. Invictus Gold and Bolognese 5-2 joint favourites here. Shadow Army 5-1. It Ain't 2 13-2. Jungle Drums 9-1. Renine 10s. Dark Cloud Rising 16s with the rest a little bit bigger as well. And in form. Trainers at the top of the betting here. Tom Clover and Rafe Beckett having a good back end of the season. Invictus Gold impressive in soft ground at Newmarket. Bolognese won by half the track at the Curragh last time out, but I don't know if you could possibly pick holes in that form. Before that he was a 77 horse. He's now a 99 horse off the back of one performance. It's a big ask. I notice there's been a bit of money here for Renine. Do you have anything to do with that, Mr. Tom Segal?
No. I get the case for Renine. I thought this was quite an interesting race because I don't know, Bolognese or whatever it's called. His worst form was in soft ground, wasn't it? Its third run. He ran okay, and the third horse came out and won today at York, but it wasn't anywhere near his form last time. I thought he got the run of the rail up the rail in the second horse it's been mucking about for Ed Walker. He's got some ability, but I don't think he's anything special. So I thought he was one to take on the soft ground. Invictus Gold, I get, it's just a price thing, because he was good, and I know Keels fancied him for the red car race, and he's got lots going for him, and Tom Clover's definitely a man to follow. But he was I don't know what he was in the week, but he wasn't 5-2, and that's for sure. So it's just a price thing because on form it's not there. Shadow Army will like the ground by showcasing. Been gelded since his last run. Could easily bounce back. But I thought the overpriced one was actually It Ain't Two, who thrashed Renine at Chester, giving him £6 2 starts ago, or Renine's 2 starts ago. Done nothing wrong since. Probably drawn on the wrong side at Ayr last time in a good race. The second horse in the Cornwallis, Brand Marquez, was in that race. He wasn't far behind him. She's by Calix, and Calix, if people don't know, Calix's horses absolutely relish soft ground. They've got an incredibly good record on soft ground, and she won her only race at Carlisle on soft ground, beating a horse that's won a maiden at Ayr in impressive style since. So I just thought she had near enough the best form for me. It Ain't Two. She's a filly, so she's getting £6 off the Colts. I think she'll like the ground. She's got stall 1. Just thought at around whatever she is, 13-2 now, it's obviously shortened up quite a bit, but she was a double figure price not long ago. I thought that was perfectly reasonably fair.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, she was a bit unlucky when she ran here in that nursery earlier on in the season as well. She got stopped in a run 2 or 3 times, then came up quite nicely. I thought that Chester form was interesting. I mean, there's a possibility that Renine turns the form around. It was only a second start at Chester, and he was it was second start at Chester, right out the bat. It Ain't Two got first run. I think that form looks half decent, and even if when you take the other 2, even the rest of the form from Renine as well, I thought those 2 were the ones to focus on. And they're drawn 1 and 3 as well.
Absolutely, but she was giving him £6 that day, and they're level weights tomorrow, aren't they? So Renine's got to improve quite a bit to get past her.
Yeah, but it was.
She's definitely got a chance. It's a different track. It's definitely not Chester at the end of the day as well, isn't it? And it's William Haggas at York. So I totally get your argument. I don't know. I just slightly preferred the proven form.
Yeah, It Ain't Two. I think it had 8 runs at Chester, and a William Haggas 2-year-old could easily improve £6 with another run or 2 under.
£6 and 6 lengths, though, Ross. Remember, £6 and 3 lengths.
Yeah, but I'll also throw your words back at you about 2-year-olds a couple of
that's
weeks
100% agree. I'm not saying she hasn't got a chance. I just thought that It Ain't Two, on really messy ground, her experience might come to the fore.
Yeah. I mean, I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying I'm going to back both of them. They're the 2 for me. That's we're as my better half says, we'll argue agreeing.
Yes.
But it happens, and we'll back those 2.
Let's hope we're right. Let's hope that is the form.
Absolutely, I agree. Unless Keels is going to tell us we're completely wrong and there's something else to back.
Oh yeah, both wrong because Invictus Gold will win.
Fair enough. Tell us why.
No, I've liked Invictus Gold for a while. I love the way he pulled away at Newmarket last time. Ground was officially good to soft, changed to soft straight after the race. I mean, it was a bog. He loves soft ground. Connections are absolutely certain that he can win a decent prize on soft ground. He went off his feed last week, and the 2-year-old trophy at Redcar, probably because somebody told him he had stall 20, because that had no chance whatsoever. And I think what were the first 5 or 6 home from? 5, 2, 3, 7, 8, 4. So yeah, he had absolutely no chance. So he didn't fancy that. He comes here instead. Yes, he's obviously got to find a bit, and the juice has gone out of his price. That's the problem. Would I be rushing to back him? I'll put it this way. I tipped him in the weekend at 8. I have not put him in the Racing Post tomorrow because he's short enough. Yeah. But I do like him, and I obviously still hope he wins because I want a bigger price.
Yeah. Okay, Victor's Gold then is a 5-2 joint favourite with Bolognese. David Stevens, what do you got?
I'm slightly concerned getting involved in this, but I'm on the Renine side of the argument with it.
Good, one to rule out.
Perfect. Get in.
I'd just be a bit worried. It Ain't Two is maybe just a bit of a hard season catching up there a little bit, whereas Renine, I think there could be a lot more to come from this. William Haggas has won this race twice in the last 3 years, and at now quite a considerably bigger price than It Ain't Two. She's around 10-1 Renine. She will do for me. But if you like the 2 at the head of the betting, just a reminder of that price boost for the duration of this live show. Bolognese or Invictus Gold to win was 4-5, now 11-10. That's up to a tenner for this live show.
Okay, thank you very much, David Stevens. There are plenty of opinions in this. What have we got? Invictus goal, says Duncan Evans. If anyone can, Callan can. That's I like it. It's a good slogan. If he was a tin of paint or a corporation or something, I'm sure he'd be having that all over. It ain't too, says David Diaz. Decent form and handles are going. Worried she might not get home though. Oh, I don't know about that. She's been fairly strong in 2 or 3 of her races, in particular here at this track earlier on in the year. So I wouldn't necessarily worry too much about that, David. Okay, that's the Rockingham Stakes then over at York. We're going to go back to well, we're going to stick with York actually, aren't we? Because we're going to skip the no, we're not. Are we? Well, all right. Are we? I thought we're not doing the 205 at York. We are doing the 205 at York. All right, I'm not going mad. There we go. Good. I'm glad. I thought I was losing my mind for a second there. That also might be true, but at least I'm right about this. The 10 furlong handicap here then at York, 14 runners, soft ground to go at, and unsurprisingly, given quite a few big handicaps have been going to Shakerade this year, we've got Sisyphean and Bolster as 5-1, 11-2 favourite and second favourite here. Valvano 7-1, Stress Free 8-1, Magico 8-1, Have Secret 9-1, Dual Identity 10s, Beneteau 10s, and bigger prices the rest then here. So an unexposed 3-year-old from the Kevin Ryan stable, and to be fair, a fairly unexposed 4-year-old from the Carl Burke stable. I'm going to come to you first for this one, Tom Segal. Again, you can form study all you like, but as we said last week, with Liberty Lane, we've seen with Volterra. What's the point in going through these big handicaps? You just back anything owned by the man who owns the front two in the market here.
Yeah, he's got the front two, hasn't he? And I mean, Bolster's the one that's got the he ran really well last time, didn't he, at Newbury behind Mustazid? Very strange gamble, wasn't it, on Mustazid that was landed after he'd run and got beaten the day before. But Bolster ran very well. Off the same mark, should run well again. A little bit surprising if he can win it, probably, because there's plenty of sort of up-and-comers in there. You can make a case for loads. I ended up on a couple. Sisyphean, because he's bred to love the ground, won over a mile at the track last time. He was obviously a bigger Harper's Ferry's come out, hasn't he? He was the favourite for the race, and he just came out a few minutes ago. So they're all a bit shorter than we were expecting. I thought he had a chance, and the one I like most, actually, is right down the bottom, Magico, who, if there's a soft ground pedigree, he's got it. By Le Havre out of a pivotal mare. He's run twice on soft ground. He's run his 2 best races. Worry is he gets too far back, because it's hard at York on this ground to make up ground. It's just clawy, sticky, horrible ground, and nothing was coming from the back really today. So I'm worried that he gets too far back. But I think I'm a bit of a Marco Botti fan in these type of races. I think he's very good with them. Nice draw in 5. I thought we'd go really well on the soft ground, but you can make a case for loads. Varno's there. There's one that they backed in the Cambridgeshire, Paddy the Plaster or whatever he's called. I thought he had a chance too on the soft ground. He ran well at Chester, as did Stress Free. Stress Free hadn't run at Leicester in the week. I don't know why they went Leicester in the week and then here, because this is obviously very much more valuable, but there we go. That's their choice. He can go well too, but for me, it's Magico really. But there's loads you can make a case for. Beneteau, I haven't even mentioned Beneteau or Dual Identity, who loves the track. You can make a case for all of them, basically.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it'll have to be very, very soft for Paddy de Plaster to get involved here, I think. How often?
He'd finish second, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he'd finish second, even at the age of, 21 or something. Yeah, Paddy the Squire, he's one you quite like.
Squire, that's it.
Yeah. Squire, yeah, I do quite like it. It was one of those, isn't he? He was a shorter price for the Cambridgeshire than he is for this. And if you just forgive 1-1, you can get great prices about horses, and it's as simple as that. He'd never run at Newmarket before, never run in a field anywhere near that size. He was drawn in the wrong place anyway. And the ground wasn't as soft as the official description, and I think he likes it when it's soft. I think he wants more of a test than 1 mile 1 furlong, ideally, even though he's got some very good form at it. But he'd been off a year. His 2 other runs this season were absolutely fantastic. He was just beaten a short head by Theory of Everything at Hamilton. Theory of Everything came out and won a race at Ascot afterwards, and he was third to Stress Free when he probably would have been second if Stress Free hadn't cut across him. Now Stress Free did win quite easily, but he's £8 worse off, and was less than half the price this morning anyway. I just thought he was one of those, a horse that just could potentially be overpriced, and he has loads of place form and a bit of winning form on soft ground. He's going to like it, I think.
It's going to be my job to be the harbinger of doom, I feel, on tonight's show again a little bit. Not so much for Tom's selection, but 10 furlongs, soft ground, York. Haven't we been saying low draws? Your John Smith's Cup has been absolutely... Paddy Esquire's only in 8. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it's that bad. Thunder Roar nearly won from 10. What they've been doing, it was a low draw on the sprint today. On the sprint today, it was all really low numbers, wasn't it? Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it was. But they still shied away from that rail. They weren't sticking to it like they did at the Ebor meeting, and therefore they come down the centre. So they've all got a shot at that on the rail course, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I just distinctly remember, with Johnson, every 10 furlong race we were saying low draws, low draws, low draws. So it's funny because it's just what they've been doing today. I didn't see what Empire State of Mind came out of. That was a mile, though, wasn't it? That was a mile, yeah. That is true. But I just think they've all got a shot at the middle in the straight. I guess
it's York's a crazy place, isn't it? York's a crazy place. Yeah. In the staying race today, the winner came up the stands rail, and yet in the sprint they go up the far side. You'd think Jason Hart came on the telly afterwards, said it's faster ground up the far side, yet in the round course races they come up the stand side. Who knows where they're going to go? It's a complete and utter farce. No one has a clue what's going to happen. So therefore, I can't really draw. I like Keels. Who knows? Yeah,
but the thing is, if it was me, or if I'd watched, again, obviously they're riding to instruction most of the time, aren't most jockeys. But if you'd watch any York race this year, I'd regard, until proven otherwise, I'd just go and cling to that rail like
the shortest way,
like my life depended on it. But
that's what I do. But
the previous meeting, last month's meeting, and one meeting in September, everything went to the stand side, and everything went to the stand side. Yeah, to every single race.
Yeah, it does baffle you, doesn't it?
It's mad.
Because I guess I was trying to talk myself into to bolster, because that Mustazid race was a funny one. He's a proper Newbury specialist. I think it was his 4th win at the track. He'd raced the day before, which often I quite like horses to race the day before and then come out next time out, was smashed. He made most of the run in. Everything else that was on the speed dropped away. He kept going and going and going. I thought if he crosses over from 13 and gets on the speed, then he's going to run a really big race. But again, after the furlong, he might not do that, and my ticket's worthless, Tom. So, yeah.
Well, I think he'll get on the pace, won't he? That's his style of racing. He's going to be close to it. At least, so I wouldn't. I just wouldn't rule anything out from any draw at York. I don't know where they're going to go. I don't. So, I'm looking for horses that handle soft ground. That's all. Because I thought it was really mucky today. I thought it was quite obvious that you needed horses that went under the conditions more than anything. Because I think when York gets its sort of clay, clory type ground, when it gets like this at the end of the season, horses get beaten 2 furlongs, don't they? In 5 furlong races, they're beating a furlong, and it doesn't happen anywhere else. So, for me, I just wanted soft ground. Sisyphean has definitely got that. Has definitely got conditions he will like. When he won over a mile by 5 lengths here, it was soft ground, and he's by Dubawi. So I could see him sort of going well. That race, you boys backed the winner of the race. He won. He ran in at Goodwood.
Horse, yeah.
Yeah, he ran really well on firm ground. That there was only beaten a length after making the run in. He kept on really strongly, so that was his first try at 10 furlongs. I think 10 furlongs on soft ground will suit him really well.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought Magico was... You were with
it was, but I like that one. I backed both. Right. I backed Magico and Sisyphean would be the 2 I backed.
But yeah, you're right. Magico by Le Havre out of a pivotal mare is soft ground all over, isn't it? David Stevens, what do you got for the 205?
We've got an extra place here each way, so 4 places each way. The couple on my list are Stress Free, who is making a quick reappearance. That was heavy ground at Leicester just 4 days ago, but he ran well off a break. He's done it before last season. In fact, they're running him again. I'm not too concerned about that. He's drawn in 9. I'm going for one that is drawn low. Maglac in 2. One on pretty testing ground at Goodwood first time up and has run again there well. So we'll go on the ground, no problem. Didn't have the blinkers on him for some reason at Chester last time. Don't know if that's why he disappointed, but they're back on today. So Maglac coming out of stall 2.
Okay. Who rides him, David?
Jim Crowley.
Coral Ambassador Ross, I would have to guess that.
No, it's just Subtle, lovely stuff. Right, let's go to Newmarket then for the 225 contest, the autumn stakes here. We can get through this in about 40 seconds, I reckon. Delacroix 15-8, Silver Peak 5-2, Stanhope Garden 6-1 with Wolf of Badenoch, 9-1 Nightwalker, Genealogy at 9-1 as well. What were you doing in 2015? Well, that was the last time a horse wasn't owned by Godolphin won the autumn stakes. So Silver Peak 5-2. Back in and go home, Keels?
Do, wouldn't it? It's an incredible record, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They do keep winning it. I mean, Aidan O'Brien has such strength this year in the 2-year-old department. You wouldn't mind betting it will change, and he does have arguably the form horse in Delacroix. But I like Silver Peak and I like Stanhope Gardens. I think they've both been learning on the job. Both would have learnt plenty for winning last time, I think. And with the record that Godolphin have in this race, I'd be just favouring Silver Peak. They do have a little bit of fine to get to Delacroix and Wolf of Badenoch, though.
They do.
In fairness, but I think one or the other of them might do it.
Yeah. Of course, Silver Peak beat Sir Dinadan last time out, who is also owned and trained by the same connections as Stanhope Gardens. Sir Dinadan came out next time out and won by 8 lengths at Ponty. Before that, he was behind Detain, who won by 7 lengths at Kempton the other day. It's funny, isn't it? Because sometimes this race is actually it throws up the best 2-year-old of the entire weekend.
Yeah, it can do. Yeah, and didn't Caribus win it the other day?
Caribus, Gayat won it back in 2017.
Yeah.
So you can get a very good horse.
Yeah, they're the slightly later maturing types, and they're not quite ready for a race like the Dewhurst, you know. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And
forget Persian King. Persian King, third in the Arc, won the French Guineas. Very, very, very good horse he was.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of which, Silver Peak's Dam is a half-sister to Persian King, who won this race and then went on to be a Guineas.
See what I did there? See what I set you up beautifully, didn't I?
Lovely stuff. So are we? Is it? I mean, again, we could talk for 5 minutes. Is it as simple as? I mean, Silver Peak's not just the record. He's also got the pedigree, the form. I mean, he's got a lot in his favour.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Charlie Appleby's 2-year-olds were in great form today, weren't they? The filly was really impressive. The one in the first was really impressive. I don't know. He sort of like goes missing. He went missing from Royal Ascot sort of for a bit, didn't he? Charlie Appleby, and they are flying again now. So I think Silver Peak will probably win. I don't think Delacroix has done quite enough for me yet. I mean, it was a good run last time, but it was sort of not totally convinced that in a 4-runner race, wasn't it? He was beaten by Jessica Harrington's horse. I'm not totally convinced it's top class form. I like Silver Peak. Simple as.
Yeah, okay. Silver Peak it is then. That's three votes for Silver Peak. David Stevens, will you come in and make it a rare 4 selection?
Let's hope not. Please, we're all waiting.
Oh no, I'm very much with this horse.
Oh,
We were asking for naps now. Then Silver Peak for me. I thought actually Tom reminded me the filly that won the first for Godolphin today. She looked pretty good as well. So. Yeah, 2-year-olds are in terrific form at the moment. And as you say, they always win this race and they will again tomorrow.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, Stanhope Gardens could give Silver Peak a bit of a fright. What's that?
By Gayath, who won the race.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, if you can't beat them, join them. I guess you go. Well, how do we beat Godolphin in the Autumn Stakes? We get a horse that, quite frankly, Godolphin probably should be own and running in the Autumn Stakes. But yeah, Silver Peak 5-2 then the selection for all of us here in this race. A few people, we're going to rattle on to York in a second, but a couple of people absolutely livid, or at least mildly peeved and perturbed that we haven't previewed the Zetland Stakes in the 150.
That was me, Ross. That was me and Keels. We wanted to do that race, not this one.
Well, look,
absolutely. We both tipped the same horse, Tom.
Well, in fact,
I saw. I just see.
Well, I'll tell you what, before we move on then, what horse have you tipped in the Zetland Stakes?
Too soon. Josh and Gary Moore.
All right, fair enough. Why have you tipped him?
Chance, because he run really well all 3 races, and he was just behind Seaplane from a bad draw at Ascot 2 starts ago. Seaplane is 8th in a place, I think, for the futurity now after bolting up next time. He won very easily from some winners. Stepped up in trip. He's by 2 down hot. He's going to relish the trip. He's probably got, I think on RPRs and top speed, he's got the 2nd best form in the race. He was one of the outsiders. He shouldn't be. He is because a bit of racing bookmaker snobbery. It's Josh and Gary Moore who they probably think should be running 2 mile hurdlers and not juveniles in group races.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I think to be fair, yeah.
I agree with Keels.
Yeah.
And also, every single horse in the race has only won a maiden or a novice stakes. It's not like anything has any form better than him. Shackleton won a maiden, starts all of them.
Yeah,
Well, in fact, and it's only Shackleton who's done a better RPR in winning his maiden as well.
Yeah.
Exactly, and I thought, if you watched the Epsom race last time, it was heavy ground. I know it's not going to be like that, but he was really strong at the finish. He's going to love a mile and 10 furlongs, I think. I think he's going to improve again. So, I just thought, as Keel says, if he had been trained by John Gosden, you could guarantee he would have been 9-2.
Amazing. There you go. Look, and even the boys in the studio, they had the Zetland Stakes ready to go. Look at that. They knew we were going to do this. We knew we were going to pull the rug from under us. But okay, there you go. Too soon then, 7-1. Moving on then to the 240 at York. I hope that please the people in the chat who want us to have a look at that race, by the way. The Coral Sprint Trophy is up next, 6 furlongs of distance here, 22 runners. Strike Red, 6-1 favourite. Room Service, 8-1. Kings Lynn, 12-1. Eye of Dubai, 12s, as is Germanic, Summergand and Jabat. Orazio, 14s. And then we've got loads of, proper sprint handicaps. To be fair, a few slightly unexposed ones, the likes of Malk and El Bodon, and some very exposed ones like Woven. And Quest for Fun, who likes it round here as well. But I quite liked Quest for Fun in theory. I thought, that was badly drawn at Ripon last time out. I went off too fast. And then again, Tom, I'm going to come to you again for this, because I looked at Quest for Fun and thought, well, he's drawn in 18, he's got no chance. And then I looked at Eye of Dubai and thought, he's drawn in 22, he's got no chance. So what are we doing? Just boxing up the bottom 5 in a combination tri-cast, or is that too simple?
I'm not. I'll be having a cheddar cheese and tomato sandwich during this race, I would imagine. It's just, look, I wanted, all week I've been keen to back Room Service, and I'd had it written in, and I've typed it all in, I've done loads of copy on it, I've done loads of research on it. And then I watched the race at York today, and I thought, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he's not a massive price. If it had been a big price, I would have carried on. I backed him, so, whatever. But he's not a massive price. I am worried about the draw. But then there's the most of the pace is on this side. So that was, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. He is the one I like because he's 2 from 2 on soft ground. He was really impressive in the sales race. He was really impressive at Pontefract. I think he might have just needed that first run after a second run after a gelding operation on ground too fast in the Air Gold Cup last time. But he wasn't beaten far. He was only beaten, if you take the winner out, he's beaten 2 lengths by the rest of them. He was back in 11th. So if the draw's okay, I think Room Service has a massive chance of winning this because I think he's got plenty of class. He's got plenty of class going forward. The rest are much of a muchness. I thought Germanic, given the Haggis won the race last year, didn't he, with Montesiv and his form thing. I thought he could leave his run at Ascot behind, but it was a bit disappointing, and you cannot rule out Orazio because if he's back to the form that he showed in the Wokingham, he'll win this. He's the same mark. He's got form on soft ground. It's just you just don't know what you're going to get from him. And the one time he ran at York, he was tailed off last. So for me, it's Room Service, but I am worried about the draw. If it is a low drawn race, and I thought Woven could go well, and if it's not a low drawn race, I thought Ali's Dancer could go well, and I have Dubai as the ones who pointed out. But Room Service, I think he's the class act.
Okay, yeah, I do. I really like him. I just don't really have him down as a York horse. He gets going quite late. I thought, in the back of my mind, I was like, he'll run well here and then win the Wentworth Stakes, that listed race at Donny back end of the season. He might be
possible.
It's
very possible. I mean, he did run well here as a 2-year-old, though, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
On fast ground, and he was third. He was drawn next to it, but it was quite a good race, wasn't it? And he ran okay, but like you said, he came from a long way back, and that might be the case again.
He is, like I said, drawn 14. The horse you quite like is drawn slap bang down the middle, Keels.
Yeah, I'm a Germanic fan. He's in 10. I mean, I am worried about the draw if it's going to be like it was today. Let's hope it isn't. He's got a bit of pace on him, though, Germanic. He might be able to get across. I mean, the key to him is dropping in trip, isn't it? I mean, we were here last week, and he was running in the Challenge Cup at Ascot, and I said, well, he didn't quite get home at Doncaster. How's he going to get home at Ascot? And he raced too keenly. He was a big drifter in the last 5 minutes. I think everybody knew, and all the big punters came in to get him. and he ran as expected. Really, he's just not. He might be by Saxon Warrior. I mean, Saxon Warrior won a Guineas and was touched off in a couple of 10 furlong races and fourth in the Derby and whatever. But the dam of Germanic has produced 3 other winners. They won 14 times between them, and 13 of those wins came at 6 furlong or short.
Well, I looked at this. The only horse who won her further, she's produced one horse, and that's Killian, who's the pure 5 furlong horse as well.
Exactly. So there's so much speed in that side of the family, and William Haggas cottoned on with Montecid, didn't he?
Yep.
That was his. He won over 6 furlongs on his first start at 2, I think, Montecid, and then he spent the rest of the next 2 seasons, 7 furlongs and a mile. Came back, finished 5th in the Air Gold Cup, and then won this, and now he's won a Sprint Cup.
Well, Elman Jed as well earlier this season as well, similar time.
Exactly. So, this is a sprinter.
Yeah.
He looked like he was a mile ahead of his mark, a furlong and a bit out of Doncaster, didn't he?
Yeah.
Know what I mean? Because he was toying with them. So let's hope. That was very soft ground as well, so he's not got a problem there. Let's hope that's the case, and let's hope he's good enough.
Yeah.
He's the one really, really unexposed horse in the race, isn't he?
Well, at least from he's box 10. He's not going to be messing about in behind runners, is he? He's just going to put his head down and
Well,
run.
you'd hope so. As I said, I mean, they've been trying to restrain him at 7.
Yeah.
Let's let him go at 6 and see what he can do. That's what I'd do anyway.
You'd hope, but you want Kieran Fowler to do exactly what he did on Sunfall last week at Ascot. Just
let him
out
go.
And go.
Yeah.
Okay, Germanic 12-1 then. Again, if we are ever complicated though, gents, it's probably worth mentioning. Secret guest in box 1. I know he came from a long way back at Ripon, but that's rare for him. They just went very quick. He's normally on the speed. Woven. I mean, it's funny that Haydock race, Tom, because again, you had the Sprint Cup at Haydock where everything wanted to be drawn low. Woven was in the middle, the best part of the track at Haydock, but then everything else in the race came down this near side. Again, I know we can just go mad talking about draws and whatnot, and he's a funny horse. He sometimes pops up and then completely disappears again, but he's in box 3. He's in good form. He's well handicapped. Michael Dodd, soft ground, back end.
Kings Lynn has run some cracking races on bad ground this year without winning.
Yeah.
Of course, he doesn't win very much, but I mean,
likes the track.
If this becomes a reduced field because of the draw, then he's a big price at 12-1, isn't he himself?
And the only thing about him, Ross, is he's a bit like the horse we were talking about, Room Service, and he gets behind.
Yeah.
He does get behind in his races, so he's got to then come through. But if it's a 5-runner race or a 6-runner race, then he's not got many to come through, is he?
Yeah, how far behind can you get? The Coral Sprint Trophy then is a big field, but we kind of try to narrow it down there, David. But an extra place would be pleasing.
You can have 5 places each way for sure on this one. The horse has shortened up. Is Strike Red coming out of stall 9 for Richard Fahey. Previous winner of this race, does go well on soft ground, goes well at York, so I can see the logic behind that. I'm a big Room Service fan. The draw has to worry me after today, but again, he's got his conditions. And you mentioned there Woven, 8 years old now, so perhaps not the most likely candidate to be an improver. He's going to have to improve again. He's up 5 for that Haydock win, but again, he'll love the ground. And he's drawn well in 3, so Room Service, got to stick with him, and Woven are the 2 for me.
Okay, and if they finish second and get beaten ahead, David?
Well, on one of them, if it finishes second beaten ahead, then I will be paid as a winner.
There you go. Thank you. Lovely stuff. Okay, right. Let's. We've got 2 more races to go then at Newmarket. We're going to have a look at the Dewhurst and then the Cesarewitch, 2 very different types of races indeed. But I think it might well be. Could well be 2 races for the Irish Raiders, of course, because the Lion in Winter is 5-6 odds on here for the Dewhurst. Shadow of Light 9-4, Ancient Truth 9-2, Segal's 11-16s, Expanded 33s, Rock of Cashel at 80-1. So 6 runners here, but very, very top-heavy market. Of course, there's been plenty of races that 2-year-olds are in over 7 furlongs and there or thereabouts. Who are probably going to be mile 10, 12 furlong horses next year, who could have run in the past couple of weeks. They could have gone to the Curragh, of course. They could have gone to Longchamp. So it's no surprise to see that there's a fairly small field here. There's only so many horses of this quality to go around. But the Lion in Winter, of course, is odds on. We haven't seen him since he bolted up in probably one of the strongest Acres we've seen in a while. Softer ground, though, and 2 Godolphin horses on his heels here. Shadow of Light, who won the Middle Park. He bids to be only the 2nd horse in 25 years to follow up in this. And Ancient Truth, who we also haven't seen since July. National Stakes is normally a good springboard to this. We don't have any of the front two, but Segal's 11, who was just behind, scored the chap at the Curragh is 16-1, and then expanded and Rocco Cashel 33s and 80-1. In theory, just making up the numbers, but you might have said that about Merrily today, and that certainly wasn't the case, was it? So again, very top heavy, small field. It is, in a way, a bit boring, Keels, in the sense that it's Ballydoyle versus Godolphin again.
Yeah, I mean, you know, from a purist
go.
point of view and a race point of view, it's not remotely boring. From a punter's point of view, let's wait for the Cez. You know what I mean? It's that.
Well, let's put our purist hat on.
But for a purist head, it's fascinating, isn't it? Because, you know, Shadow of Light has already beaten a very short-priced Aidan O'Brien horse in the Group 1 this season in Whistlejacket. And did it really, really well and was impressive. And you know, and according to Racing Post ratings, is the best horse by £4 on what they've done so far. But a Lion in Winter was deeply impressive in that York race, wasn't he? I mean, he really did win well. And Wimbledon Hawkeye's come out and won a Group 2. He was second. You know, the 7 and a bit length fourth has come out and won. The Waco Kid has come out and won a Group 3. You know, you can't ask for form to work out much better than that. And he just did it so well. He was extremely strong in the market as well. You know, never a bad sign when it comes to the O'Brien horses, the Cornwall, the lads getting on. And yeah, he could well be their best 2-year-old, and I think he's going to be hard to beat.
His 2 runs have been on pretty quick ground, though. I mean, it's not soft necessarily at Newmarket, but it's a slightly new experience for him, and it was really fast at York.
It was really fast at York, yeah. I don't really see a problem with that. I really don't.
I was just trying to pick holes in that.
Yeah, no. I mean, really. You always have unknowns, don't you?
Yeah.
And I always say I don't want any unknowns if I want to bet at short prices. I won't be having a bet in the race. The commercial team will put me away again and say Paul Kealy says so-and-so's a penalty kick again, and when it gets beat I'll get all the brickbats on Twitter, which is what happened last week when I said I wasn't having a bet on Whistlejacket.
Yeah, but as soon as you say that as well, you know that they're sat at home now picking this up going, right, I'll do it again, I'll do it again.
So no, I'm not having a bet. I think Lion in Winter will prove himself the best 2-year-old around, though.
Okay, the Lion in Winter then 5-6. It is. I mean, it's a slightly odd Dewhurst, isn't it, Tom? Like I said, I mean, you don't get many where 2 of the front 3.
Social team, by the way, not commercial team. What am I on about?
Just social team. Yeah, they're the ones. They're the ones.
Social team.
Don't have a go at the commercial team, Keels.
Yeah, this is the social team that have got a secret vendetta against Keels. It'd be quite a turn up if the commercial team were logging on and clipping things up to put you away, wouldn't it? But anyway, yeah, Tom, it's an odd Dewhurst. Like I said, you've got one horse we haven't seen since the July Stakes, one horse we haven't seen since the Acomb, and then one who had 2 weeks ago in a race that very rarely throws up a horse that goes for this. It's fascinating, but it's not a typical Dewhurst.
No, it's not. I mean, it's not a typical O'Brien horse either, is it? It's a very atypical preparation he's had for a Dewhurst. They're nearly always running. They never run in the Acomb for starters, and they nearly always run in the National Stakes or something in Ireland, and they never come. And you know what I mean? He's a very different horse to the normal O'Brien horse we see in this race. But you cannot argue that the York form has worked out brilliantly. Wimbledon Hawkeye and the Waco Kid, and lots of them have come out and won good races since. So the form is red hot. I think they're going to have to go really hard, and I think that's what they'll do, because he looked like a strong galloping horse, didn't he, the Lion in the Winter, whereas Shadow of the Light looked like a quick horse. And that's what they'll do when Rocco Cashwell's going to go off hard. They're going to make it a test to see if Shadow of Light gets the trip. On pedigree, he should have no problems with the trip, and he didn't look to me like the trip would be a problem last time. I think he's a massive danger, just given the way Charlie Appleby's 2-year-olds have been running this week. He looked, it is the way he quickened up, the way he did things at Newmarket. He's got the Newmarket form as well. I slightly prefer him to the Lion in Winter. I think, as Keel said, it's not a race you can bet in, but it's the race I'm most looking forward to tomorrow by a country mile. I think it's a really, really fascinating clash of the 2 superpowers. I'm slightly hoping Shadow of Light wins, because I just so liked him at in the Middle Park last time. But look, the Lion in Winter looked awesome at York.
Yeah. I mean, it is fascinating, because like I said, I mean, I'm just looking at the past, 20, 25 years. I mean, 8 horses came from the National Stakes and won this. 5 came from the Champagne Stakes. You haven't got either of those two winners. You haven't got Amori City, who won the Vintage Stakes. You haven't got Omri Matisse, who won the Futurity. I mean, you've got it is a strange old Dewhurst. Just a quick word on Segal's 11, because I mean, of all the trainers this year have been putting it up to the big two, as it were, with their juveniles. Hugo Palmer's having a right old time of it, and Oisin Murphy's having a cracking season as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good horse here. So Oisin Murphy's really. I'm reading something he was saying the other day. He's really confident that Segal's 11 is going to run a big race. I'm just not convinced the National Stakes form is that great. Henry Matisse didn't run so well in France, did he, at the weekend? I'm just not. I think that's a little bit, in fact, quite a long way behind what The Lion in Winter and Shadow of Light have shown. But you're getting 16 times the price. So you pay your money, you take your choice. I don't think he'll be good enough, but I see where you're coming from. I like the way Hugo Palmer trains. I like the way this horse is improving, and I think he's got a really good future. Just not sure he's this class.
Okay, thank you very much. Toothpick Charlie says Ancient Truth's been good off his Dewhurst horse all season, but Buick on Shadow of Light, take the hint. But Alex Wilker says Ancient Truth's going to win, and Tommy Daniel says Middle Park winners don't win Dewhurst, so you can rule out Shadow of Light. So in that case, David, a reverse forecast on Rock of Cashel and Expanded then in the Dewhurst. But yeah, absolutely fascinating stuff, because like I said, there's probably your Camille Pizarro's, your Omri Matisse, your Bay City Rollers. We've seen some very good 2-year-olds win their trials. At this point, the 2,000 guineas market, there could be 5, 6, 7 horses vying for favouritism.
Yeah, I mean, the Lion in Winter heads are betting for the Guineas and the Derby, and this could be a Triple Crown horse. This is how much I love this horse. I can't wait for this race tomorrow. Now, strictly speaking, Ancient Truth beat Wimbledon Hawkeye further than in the superlative than Lion in Winter did at York, but I think Wimbledon Hawkeye has improved as the season's gone on as well. Undoubtedly, it was only the Lion in Winter's second start. It is a very atypical Ballydoyle horse. I mean, he's by Sea the Stars for a start, of course, isn't one of theirs. They could never beat him as a racehorse, but he might just be their next best big thing. And I'm really looking forward to this. Horses can do the double. What was the O'Brien horse did? Was it Air Force One or?
The only one is US Navy flag, I believe.
I knew it had a just slightly military bent to it. There we go. So look, it can be done, but it was interesting. Straight after the Middle Park, Charlie Appleby was, that's it, we're done for the season. Now, of course, trainers are fully entitled to change their mind. The horse came out of it well, and they're rolling the dice with him. But then Ancient Truth, the negative about him is William Buick is sticking with the Middle Park winner. I'm a massive Lion in Winter fan. Like I say, I really think he could be the next big thing, and it'll be hoping he can prove it again tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Stevens. Right then, moving on to the Cesarewitch, then 2 miles and 2 furlongs the distance. 25 of them run here for this flat handicap. That's right, a flat handicap. Just a reminder. As Sea of Sands is 9-2 for Willie Mullins. Jacobit Cavan is 6-1 for Emmett Mullins. 6.5 is 8-1 for Gavin Cromwell, although I assume he's going to go off 13-2. What do you know? We've got a flat trainer in the shape of Manxman for the Christopher's at 10-1. Dawn Rising, Run for Oscar, Nadawi, all at 12s for Irish jumps trainers. I guess if you count in Joseph O'Brien in that. The Shunters 14s with Spirit Mixer and Premier Linia, and then it's 16-1 bar those. And I don't know what happened in, what year was it? I don't know what happened in 2018, but all the jumps trainers said, you know what? Why are we letting the flat boys win the Cesarewitch? We've got all the strongest stayers in the business, and since then it's pretty much been jumps horses all the way down. Tom, will that continue in 2024?
Yes, I think it will. I mean, the point is, isn't it, that flat trainers can't get hold of staying blood, are they? They're not in the sales. They're all sprinters. So the jumpers are by Derby winners, and they're all going over jumps, and they're just better horses. They're just simply better horses, the jumpers, than the flat stayers. So I think that's why they win. I think one of them will win. I have to admit, I'm going to say it very quietly, but I was one of the thieves that took a bit of the 33-1 about Sea of Sands after he'd won at Listowel. So I'm quite hoping he wins, but it's a guess, isn't it? Who knows whether he'll stay the trip? Who knows what that form amounts to? The only thing you do know is it's Willie Mullins, William Buick in a Cesarewitch, his only runner, and he's got incredible record in the race. So it's clearly got a very good chance. It's clearly well handicapped for him to be running. Whether he stays the trip or it's the right race for him, whether he bounces, who knows? Quite happy with my 33-1 though, I have to admit. Jakovec Cavan. I was told by someone who would know that's the best handicapped horse in Emmett Mullins' yard. Well, Emmett Mullins has got about 30 that have got 30 pounds in hands. So if he's the best one, then he's going to win, isn't he? The question is whether he'll stay the trip. I think he would have liked it a lot softer because I think he really, really relishes soft ground. I think the drying ground is not necessarily in his favour, but it's Emmett Mullins. Who knows? He wins Grand Nationals with novices and shunters. And all, he could easily win. I think he's very well handicapped whether he gets the trip. I'd like him to win for Hayley Turner because I've always thought she's probably the best lady jockey I've seen, and I still think she is. And it'd be great if she could win it. 6.5's got a very interesting profile, hasn't he, for Gavin Cromwell? He's another one. Slightly concerned about whether he stays. He's maybe got the run of the race at Leopardstown last time. The front three were the front three throughout. And maybe that sort of flattered him a bit. That flattered her a bit. I think she'll go well for Gavin Cromwell. Stall 20's not that easy. I thought Dawn Rising might turn the tables myself.
Yeah. That was the one I was going to throw. I mean, I used to hate the Cesarewitch until the jumps trainers do, and now I just go, well, what's the best jump source in the race? And I'm not sure, you go back to the last 2 times we saw Dawn Rising over hurdles, an RPR of 145 when winning a Grade 3 and 139 when finishing third in a Grade 1. Since then, he's barely run a bad race on the flat.
Well, he's a Queen Alexandra and he was third in an Irish St. Leger. I know there was only 4 runners, but he was only 2.5 lengths behind Kyprios. He's got some classy form. I wonder whether this has been the plan all along. And the reason I say that is he's not that great fresh, and he'd had a long break before the Irish Stairs. He was drawn in trap 26. I know the winner was drawn in outside, but the winner sort of made all. He was held up in midfield. It was impossible to make up ground. He did really well, given the place he was in the track and the position he was during the race to finish 5th. He stays. We know that from the Queen Alexandra. The more it dries out, the better for him. Tom Marquand's booked. Lots going for him. As you say, he's placed in a Group Grade 1 hurdle, wasn't he, in his youth? And funnily enough, despite, as Spinger says, he's not that exposed, is he? No. There still could be more to come from him. And I just wondered whether this was his day. And if it is, he's got a very good chance. Yeah,
I mean, compared to the shunt and run for Oscar, the last 2 winners, he's practically running fresh, isn't he? So, what about you, Paul?
Well, I mean, the way I looked at it is if these horses at the head of the market, trained by Willie Mullins and Emmett Mullins, were fantastically well handicapped, then what the hell were they doing running in this race? It was worth a third of the money that the Irish Says was.
Yeah, fair.
You know what I mean? Well, you look at the racing programme and you think, well, the prize money for the Newmarket Says is in freefall. It's the lowest first prize since Sergeant Cecil won in 2005.
Yeah, the Irish was 324
grand to the winner. So why weren't they running in that? Willie Mullins ran 4 or 5 in the Irish Says. Yeah. Right, so we got this. I mean, obviously, I would love Tom's 33-1, but I think he'll drift. I think there's and none of them made any show at all. Like, maybe they are coming over here just for that. But I mean, it's a massive prize to see.
Maybe they're just coming over just because they love.
Yeah, just because they love. Let's all pay all the expense of putting a horse on a ferry and coming over here to run for a third of the prize on a racecourse on your doorstep. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it obviously would have got into it. So this is a much lower class race. So I took the same sort of route as Tom, who tipped Dawn Rising, who was 5th, 6.5 was 3rd. Yes, may have got the run in the race, but I mean, she's only, she's not, got that much experience at all, has she? She's already been over to England as well, though, because she's won at Newmarket. She only made her debut in March in a bumper, didn't she? And she just keeps on improving. So. Yeah, I thought she was a cracking each way bet. I can't see her being out of the frame, to be honest.
Which one were we talking about there? Sorry,
6.5.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Fine.
6.5. But I have back one. An outside France. Aquam, I think, is a little bit of a forgotten horse because he'd have gone very close in that Chester Cup if he'd have got a run. And he just, all throughout last autumn and winter, he was improved. He'd improved for the step up in trip, and then in the Chester Cup, that was as far as he'd gone, and he improved again. It was a career best on turf for him, and he hasn't run since. Now I'm assuming he was put back for this, with a view to having a prep run. But he didn't get one, and he was a non-runner twice. So I'd imagine that Ian Williams is probably kicking himself that it didn't quite work out for him once the ground was too soft. But hopefully he's fit enough to do himself justice, but he keeps on. You know, he also finished lame in that Chester Cup, by the way, and he got beaten a couple of lengths. Like, you know,
well,
so,
I mean, I think that's positive. The fact that, you know, he barely raced on fast ground, didn't he? And I don't think he particularly enjoyed it, and still ran well.
Yeah, I know. It's just think 33 to 1. Yeah, I can understand what Tom's saying for the jumpers are better bred to be stayers and they're just better horses, because you know a lot of them are by Derby winners, aren't they?
Yeah.
But I thought he'd go well at a price anyway.
Okay. Fair enough.
Right, just about the where Keels is right. I was interested in what you said there about the Irish Cesarewitch and the prize money. I think they were trying to get Jack Ovett Cavern in, weren't they? He was a reserve on the day. So,
right, get it, yeah.
So maybe he just didn't get in that day, which is why. And that's for Cedar Sands. I don't know. It would have been maybe Willie Mullins' creature of habit, isn't it? Do you think he would have gone for the Irish Cesarewitch first time out after 700 days off? Don't know. Might have.
Yeah. I mean, and
Do you know
also,
what I mean?
you got
I've got to get a run into him to come here. Those are the only things I can think of, because like Keels, why run here for 80 when you could have won 200?
Yeah, but I mean, I guess the other answer is there you know, you got beat by 2 group horses in the Irish Says, and there aren't any group horses here. So
yeah, but that was my point, wasn't it? I'm running in the easier race because it ain't that good.
Yeah, true. Yeah, fair.
You know what I mean?
One more to throw before we move on. The other one I thought was Nadawi, who was running, you know, over hurdles. That second at Galway. I mean, 4-year-old running to an RPR of 135 in the Galway hurdle. I mean, how many horses have come out and franked that form? I mean, Gorgeous Tom, She Could Be Anything. I mean, even the horses Mighty Tom, Nürburgring obviously ran well in the Irish Says. I mean, that looked a strong renewal.
Well, he won the Galway hurdle, didn't he?
Sorry?
He won the Galway hurdle, didn't he?
Nürburgring should have won the Irish Says, shouldn't he?
He won that and then finished 4th in the Irish Says and had a nightmare, didn't he? So I thought Nadawi was very interesting at 12 to 1 again.
Very much so.
Just
very much so. I think Ryan Moore was down to ride him, and then he got claimed for Queenstown. So it's interesting that I think he is fancied, to go well, Nadawi. The other one is the old Charles Burns down the bottom. What do you make of the Reverend Hubert? It's a good name. I'm not sure if he's a good horse, but it's interesting that he's coming over down the bottom. I didn't get the jockey booking, boys. Sean David. I think the last time he did 8 stone 2, he was about 6. 8 stone 7 is his lowest weight for ages.
Crikey, yeah.
So I wondered,
interesting, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I just wondered what was going on there.
Yeah.
Another day, maybe.
Again, but you can drive yourself mad trying to work out what's going on with the Burns horses, can't you? But anyway, the Cesarewitch then, 2 miles and 2 furlongs the distance. David Stevens, what's the angle for you?
5 places each way in this one. There'd be no surprise if any of the first 3 in the betting won. We just don't know how good they might be. I'd take a chance on Alphonse Legrand at 20 to 1, who's definitely not trained by Tony Martin, but ran up a hat-trick earlier, including big wins at Chester and Newcastle earlier in the season. Prep for this by running in that Irish Cesarewitch. Should be a lot better off today for that one. And got a £3 claimer on board, which hopefully just might make all the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be interesting in the winner's enclosure afterwards, couldn't it? Okay, right. Here's an advert and then we'll get the naps.
We're into the final bend of the Coral Fan Derby, where racing lovers of the UK are in a spectacular contest. And watch this, he's shaking his phone like it's a pocket-sized maraca. They're all getting rewards now. He's shaking it, she's shaking it, they're all shaking it. Play the free Coral Reward Shaker to win guaranteed daily rewards and offers. Coral, we're here for it.
Okay then, York and Newmarket on Saturday. Paul Kealy, what's the nap for you?
I want to take a chance on Germanic being a sprinter.
Okay.
Because if he is, he could be very, very well handicapped.
So the silver
240 at York.
For William Haggis. Thank you very much. Tom?
Well, I'll go for the old Dawn Rising in the Says. I just think he's going to run really well.
Okay, lovely stuff. I'll go for Liberty Lane to continue his love affair with Newmarket in the opener. And David, I think we already know your nap, but please finish off this round robin.
The Lion in Winter to win by over 1 length. We've actually got a special 2 to 1 from 13 to 8. I didn't get time to say that, but that's the one for me. The Lion in Winter to win by over 1 length. And don't forget all online bets from 9 a.m. tomorrow on the Coral Sprint Trophy if you're beaten by a head or less, you'll still be a winner.
Didn't you say earlier in the show that Silver Pete was your nap, or am I going mad?
I did say that, but that was just to wind the boys up at the time because I knew they both fancy it as well.
Fair enough. It's always fun to wind them up, and we'll be back next week, do exactly the same. And of course, the annual visit into the studio for Mr. Tom Segal, Champions Day.
Oh, yes.
Oh no, I'm in on Thursday, but you're not here, Ross.
You what? Sorry?
I'm into the studio on Thursday, but you're not there, are you?
What, you doing the jump off or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Well, that's fine. There's room in here. You can stay over.
Now, sleep over.
Yeah.
Why not?
You can. There's room under here. There's room. You can just pop yourself in the studio. You can sit right back up at 6 p.m. on the Friday.
Very
Anyway.
much looking forward to seeing you for Champions Day, Ross and all.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see if that happens. But anyway, tune in next week to see if it does. Thanks for watching. Have a good weekend.